Is Hyatt going to make more negative changes? Citi devalued transfer partners. Will Mark make it to Bermuda? We don't know. All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel, the Miles and Points show.
If I could cancel this trip, I would.
Well, happy spring break, Mark, or almost spring break. And you get to go to the Bermuda Triangle, the beautiful waters, the pink sand beaches. It sounds so tranquil, but it's not all going to plan, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about this a bit with the TSA and everything that's going on. And I was kind of like holding out hope that they would figure it out a couple days before, give me a little breathing room. But I'm really nervous because New York is one of the worst areas. Like, I think Houston is by far the worst. New York, Atlanta, both pretty bad. So we have to deal with LaGuardia and JFK. We're flying into LaGuardia. That's not a big deal flying in. Then, we're overnighting near JFK. And then we got to fly out early in the morning. Like, if it was a 2 p.m. flight, I wouldn't be too worried about it, but it's an 8 a.m. flight. And it seems like all of this backup is happening very early in the morning. On the way back, we fly into JFK, but we have like 7 hours to get to LaGuardia and get through, and it'll be an evening flight. I don't think it'll be too bad. I'm not worried about that. Like, if I have to stand in line for 3 hours before an evening flight, whatever. Getting up at 3:30 in the morning or 4 in the morning because you don't know what the TSA setup's going to be like, and then still maybe missing your flight, I am not looking forward to that.
Or just getting there at 4 a.m. and then it takes 5 minutes to get through that.
Yeah.
What's worse? I mean, yes, you're probably happy you're through, but then you're sitting there for hours. Of course, maybe you can go to lounges or whatever, but the whole uncertainty of this. In the discussion on the TSA on the last show, we had a lot of comments, a lot of people on all sides of it. So maybe we can share some of that. Hope for better days. Some people think are on my side where they say privatizing it doesn't make it better. But it's an interesting sort of thing, and we're all going to be doing it. My whole thing, forget all of that stuff, Mark. On a good day, when there's money in the bank and they're getting paid and they're happy, those JFK TSA agents are not very nice. So I can't imagine what they're like right now.
It's the word. I hate JFK so much. Like, coming back from Europe into JFK is always terrible. It's a mess. Flying out of there is not great. So I've been doing, like, this morning I spent a good hour just searching like any way to avoid JFK to Bermuda. There's not a ton of flights into Bermuda, so I'm a little bit stuck there. I'm probably going to give it another chance later, but I did find, like, I'm like, all right, Charlotte to Bermuda. Any flights there? No. Miami to Bermuda. Okay. There's a flight Saturday night. We're supposed to fly out Sunday morning. Flight Saturday night, fly down to Miami, get in a day earlier, book another super expensive hotel with core points. Who cares? Like, if it costs me a bit more, let's get that locked in and just avoid that area, and that'd be cool. But I can't find a flight to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, like nothing. And I get it, it's spring break, but just sucks last minute, 2 days out. You think that maybe they would do a little dump of award seats. So I can get like half of it together to get there a different way, but I can't get the other half. So it's just frustrating, and it's more stress not knowing what it's going to be like versus probably what it will be like. Like, if we get there at 4 and it takes 2 hours to get through, not a big deal. But I just want to know for sure. I don't want to get up early and do all this and fly to New York and then be like, oh, it's a 4-hour wait. Sorry, you're going to miss your flight. Like, that will piss me off.
Well, I'm going to say the obvious thing is ignorance bliss when it comes to this stuff? Do we get overly complicated because we know better and we can change flights and we can do all this where a normal person would just show up and hope? And do we spend more time and effort trying to fix it than we would just dealing with it?
Well, that, and then I'm like, all right, do they have a minute suites there? Should we just go at midnight and rent out the minute suites for like 4 or 5 hours? I don't know.
Just sleep in the floor. We've done it. I have plenty of articles on the site from back in the day. Just sleep. We once, I remember it was crazy. I did this last minute trip to Hawaii. I think this was 2013 or 14. And we got this like flight back on New Year's Eve. And that was the only flight I could do because I booked it like a couple days ahead of time. And the flight home was into LA. And then the flight home was like at 6 a.m. out of LA to Vegas on New Year's Day. And I just, at that point, now I would probably get the hotel. I would say I've done that before, but we slept in LAX. That's it. The lounge opened at like 4 a.m. And I think by the time we got settled after our plane, it was like 12:30, and we just hung out in the terminal for a few hours, did that. I remember watching, celebrating New Year's in the airport. So maybe we did get off the plane right before midnight, because I remember that, but I don't know. It's
I feel like coming home, it's a bit different because you're going to hit your bed at like 4 or 5 hours later. so you can power through it. But starting a trip that way is brutal. I don't. We need
I can
we
never
need help.
shed the backpacker in me. I'm telling you, it's I haven't done it in a long time. That's probably I think I probably slept in an airport once after that. So in the last 10 years, it's brutal though. I will say, even when I was in my 20s, you paid for it the next day.
This is why we need more yotels and capsule hotels inside the terminal, airside, and I would do that in a heartbeat. Like if I could book a yotel, we would be doing that and just crashing there for 5 or 6 hours before the flight. Hey, at least I'll get to see inside Resorts World where you didn't get to see. It won't be locked when I'm there.
The casino, yeah. Oh God, but I like that property. It's a great Hyatt. I'm not very happy though with Hyatt lately. I don't know about you. We've talked about all the big changes coming, but maybe even more. Are they going to add a new tier above Globalist? Well, this new survey, it comes from Loyalty Lobby. We do have an article discussing it on the website. This survey, so they're asking different things. This doesn't mean that they're going to do any of this. This is very typical in the travel space to get ideas, but some of this other stuff is good. Ability to top up awards with points. This is something we've asked for a long time. Award that waives peak pricing and allows the award holder to redeem at the standard level for each category. This sounds good. Did Bilt design this? What are we doing? At what level of this used to be a simple company where you got
Yeah.
good elite benefits and good value. And what the heck are they doing? I'll throw the rest up on the screen, Mark. I'm a little frustrated with the direction we've going in the last year or two.
I mean, as milestone, if that's like the 20-night milestone or something, because they're basically useless now, I don't think it's a bad one. But like you said, it's kind of confusing. You have to look at peak or whatever the hell they're called now, the two above standard that they'll have going forward in the next month or two. Like if it dropped that down, that's kind of cool, something different. So I don't mind that. The big one that I think people would really lose their mind over is losing free parking. Like I think that's a big perk of Hyatt. That's a big part of award nights. And if people aren't going to get, or Globalist, if people aren't going to get that, that's like, in Chicago, that's $75 a night. And that's the reason I stay at Hyatt in Chicago. If I'm going to have to pay for parking, then screw that. I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, and resort fees as well is another thing. So if you add those two up at some properties, you're talking significant money. And look, let's talk inside baseball, the business side of this. We've criticized Marriott and Bonvoy, especially after the Starwood merger. They set up the entire program for property owners, right? And so they could save money, so they could deny benefits when they wanted to, so the economics worked. And Hyatt tried to pretend, saying, no, we're not doing that. And they maintained a strong loyalty program. And you're not going to argue to me that eliminating resort fees or parking charges from a benefit is anything but kowtowing to the property owners. And so it shows you that we're heading into a different phase of Hyatt if they do this. I am not somebody who has criticized them a ton. I'm happy to criticize them, but I've largely had a very good experience as a customer. And this, I mean, I'm telling you, you add another elite tier above, you take these things away, I am not going to stay at your properties other than for the very convenient stay like I use Hilton or Marriott now. I'm never going to boycott you, but you're not getting my loyalty.
Yeah, they're going to lose the mattress runs. They're going to lose people spending on the credit cards. It will hurt them, but I think this is kind of the maturation of the program. Like they used to be kind of like the teen, the up and comer. So they made their loyalty program great because like we've said many times, we are the product. We're what they're selling to these hotels. They needed to get enough people in the fold to say, "Hey, we have all these people that will come to your property." When they were small, it's harder to sell that. And we've seen that in Vegas when Marriott took over the MGM properties. They're selling at a higher rate. They're selling to more people. Like it's been more beneficial to them than Hyatt was. Maybe Hyatt's finally gotten to that point that they have enough people in the fold that they're like, all right, now we can start twisting the screws to them a bit. We can extract that value back out. We don't need to expand as much. We don't need to enroll as many new customers now. So now we try to make it like an actual like sustainable long-term thing or more profitable, however you want to look at it. Some of this stuff doesn't bother me. Adding a tier above Globalist, as long as it's based on earning and it doesn't take away from Globalists. Like if you give them more perks, okay, cool. There's a lot of people out there that spend over 100 nights in Hyatt hotels. They deserve probably a little bit better. Getting rid of the concierge or making it a choice of a perk, okay. Most people think their concierge sucks. And maybe they don't have enough to make it really worthwhile. Maybe this will improve that. I'm okay with that. Topping off awards, we've asked for forever. They said, no, we're never even considering that. Now they are. That's okay. But this other stuff, yeah, if you the big perks of the program are the breakfast and the parking and the resort fees. If you take away any of those three things, it changes a whole bunch for people, the calculations that they're willing to go through to get this status.
Yeah, and from a personal perspective, I'm frustrated with this. I don't look, I mean, they already have milestone rewards. So if you do get past 60 nights, you do continue to earn more all the way up to the extreme free night or whatever they call it that gives you the category 1 through 8. So okay, add more stuff. I mean, I think you nailed it on the head, is that this company is changing. And I think as consumers, we should do that too. That's all I'll say. I went out of my way to stay at Hyatt's where maybe that doesn't make sense anymore. Truthfully, I've already talked on the show. Maybe I was already heading in that direction. This is definitely the maturation, the growth. And what we've always said is the property owners are their real customers, not you. I mean, that's the truth, is that the way that they pitch these properties, the way that we have so many brands, all of this is because most of these are owned by real estate investment trusts who need to have this hotel that targets this demographic and that hotel, and they balance their portfolio, and they need to make sure that the fixed costs are this much and that much, and this is how the business of hotels works in 2026. So maybe it's just unrealistic to think Hyatt could have maintained all of this, but man, I would be sad to see it, especially the resort fee and parking. To me, that says that's a step too far. Many other programs also do this, or at least maybe they hedge it and they do it on awards or something like that. I don't know. I mean, parking is already on awards for Globalists, but resort fees are waived on paid stays. So, maybe we get that.
Yeah, and we should say this hasn't happened. Nothing's happened. So maybe nothing does happen. I'm sure something will happen. Feels like 2026 Hyatt's trying to be the 2025 Southwest. Like, let's just throw everything up in the air and change it all around. But if they do go down this road or change some things, hey, you know who's still there for you? The tried and true, the best $95 status you can get? Hilton. They'll take you back. They got that gold status.
Yotel, baby. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think. I mean, any of this stuff exciting, not exciting? Do you feel I'm overreacting, or is this just a maturation? We'd love to hear it. As Mark said, this is just speculation, but we all care about this stuff, and it is important to discuss. But Bilt Red Day is coming April 1st, and they added Wyndham as a partner. You can get a 200% transfer bonus with Wyndham, actually, depending on what tier you're in, of course, as always. But that's a pretty solid value there.
Yeah, and if you have top tier, you can do the buy up to 125%. So you're getting over 2-to-1, which is kind of insane. But it seems like Wyndham all of a sudden was like, hey, let's get everybody to buy our points. Like, they've been getting added right and left. It feels like Chase just added them, now Bilt. And it's an undervalued program. We talked about this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about other programs to look at that's outside of Hyatt, because so many people have been laser focused on Hyatt. Wyndham does have some of that value there, that you can get a cent a point or over a cent per point. You can get a cent a point transferring it to Caesar's Rewards and cashing it out that way. There are caps there, but that's the bare minimum that I would be looking to get, knowing that I can always get 1 cent per point doing that. So there are all inclusives in Mexico that are pretty decent that our friend Matt stays at. There's some decent ones international, maybe not as great in like the cities around the US. I do like, we stayed at one by Disney Springs, a Wyndham, several years ago. That was very nice. So there are niche uses here. I wouldn't transfer just because you're like, oh, I'm going to get like over 2 cents per Bilt point for this. I wouldn't do that, but I would probably kick the tires and do some searches before the first of the month rolls around, see if there's something that makes sense for you.
Shout out to the Viva Wyndham Maya down in near Cancun, because that's one of the first all-inclusives I ever stayed in way back when. I believe it's still there. I don't know what condition it is, but when you said Matt goes to those,
Yeah.
you don't hear about people talk about the Wyndham all-inclusives too much, but it was really nice back then, and I imagine it probably still is. Wyndham used to be a more premium name, right? I remember going to that all-inclusive, and you would think Wyndham had a heft to it, maybe like a Hyatt or a Marriott, but then they bought all these crazy brands, and that changed the story, but that doesn't mean they don't still have really good properties.
Yeah, they still have a couple decent brands, and they bought all those roadside motels and stuff, and it kind of devalued what it's worth. I still think they come up with some of the more creative promos of anybody, maybe the most creative company out there in the hotel loyalty sense of coming up with things. Matt was one of those winners of the unlimited Wyndham thing where you got like 2 months or 3 months or whatever it was, where you could stay in a Wyndham hotel every night for a couple $100. And he did end up hitting up a couple different properties. And when he won, we were searching some stuff. I think Poland came up because we both had wanted to go there, and there was a really nice looking one there. So there are maybe more so international, but there are some uses there. It's just crazy that all of a sudden everybody's adding Wyndham.
Well, another program that's similar is Choice Hotels, right? I mean, that's another
Yeah.
program that has some decent properties. I've talked about. I mean, I'm still in love with the Clarion at Copenhagen Airport, and I would
Yeah.
just die
Good
to
deal.
stay there again. So there is some value there, but there's a lot of lower end properties. But we do talk about Citi and being a great value to transfer thank you points to Choice privileges. And unfortunately, starting April 19th, that's not going to be as good a value. So currently, what is it? 1,000 thank you points is 2,000 choice points, and now it's going to be 1,500. So it's like a 25% devaluation. And then there is also a devaluation on preferred hotels, a 50% devaluation on preferred hotels, a program admittedly that I haven't really used, but I have used Choice. And I guess, I just transferred all those Accor points over last year to have a big fat balance there. Now, do I have to go do that with thank you? Because, I mean, this is a good deal. And I want to go to stay at that Clarion at Copenhagen Airport again.
Yeah, that was one I actually bought points for because it was so much cheaper to just buy the choice points and book it there, which I think we talked about on the show. But it is a great hotel. You can hop on the train, get downtown fairly quickly. A good value there. But no, this is probably my favorite thank you point. I mean, American is a better transfer partner, I think, for most people. But I earn American by trying to get status through their credit card, so I don't really need American. Plus, I have a ton of Alaska miles, so I can book American with that. So I'm like, all right, I have been moving all of my thank you points over, and I was trying to stockpile some for another trip to the Bahamas. And this came like right after we talked about it on the show. So maybe it was our fault, but no, it came right after. And it's like, oh man, I'm not quite where I need to be. So it's annoying. And now, if they had started this when they first came out with it, if they had said 1 to 1.5 from the beginning as they added it, we would have been like, oh, that's amazing. That's really good value. But now that's going from 2 to 1.5 when everybody else is still at 1 to 1, besides Wells Fargo, it hurts. It stinks.
Well, realistically, for me, I haven't really done a ton of them, and so I'm trying to like, okay, there are some areas of the world where they're great. Does it make sense to transfer them over? I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this. I probably will transfer some over. I do like having more of this playbook where I have Accor points and I have more of these different programs where breakfast isn't a huge deal for me. I mean, I do like the nice Hyatts and I don't know. I have Hilton status. I can get breakfast, but that's never a huge driver. So losing that isn't such a huge deal for me. I do like lounge access, but I don't drink booze. So it's not even like I'm getting some great value where I'm having a
You
couple
just want
drinks at
you
night.
want the fizzy water. That's all.
That's true. I do drink a decent amount of liquid, so I probably get my money's worth there. If only they had a fountain. Yes, the lounges that have a fountain machine there, Mark. I'm in heaven. Yeah, it's sad to see this. Preferred hotels, do you have any great take on that? I haven't really used that program, so I don't know. I doubt many people actually transferred there.
Yeah, it's when it first came out, I did like a whole deep dive, and I looked at every single hotel in the program for award nights, and I found 3 throughout like the entire calendar that you could book with points. That's the problem. Like they don't open up awards that much. I think it's gotten better. Some people have been able to book things. I think it's very niche. If you do have a play there, I would transfer because 4 to 1 is kind of insane, and there is value. The funny thing is, you could find better award space, better availability, and sometimes even a better rate booking the preferred hotels through Choice, the Choice program, because they're like kind of like a partner. So some of them pop up there, and that was always the way that I would book a preferred hotel. So I think there's still value there. Now, this was a big play for me, or a big reason why when Bilt was switching to cardless, and they said, "Do you want a Wells Fargo card?" I said yes. I haven't been able to get approved for one. They give you the autograph card, decent earning on gas and a couple other categories. They still transfer 1 to 2 for Choice. So I had wanted to potentially upgrade that to the autograph journey because of the 5x on hotels and stuff like that. I still might go that route if it's possible, or at least try to. I just don't know. Maybe 3x is perfect. That's what I was looking for with the Premier card. So that was a play. If you did stick with the Wells Fargo card when your Bilt transferred out, you might still be okay here with this for a bit at least. And then the question is, do they devalue it too? We'll see. The funny thing is, with the City Premier, you were able to earn essentially 6x in those 3 times categories, when the Choice card earned 5x in a lot of those categories. Do you think that was why they made this? So now you can only do 4.5 times. It's not better than the Choice co-branded card.
I mean, I think that we've seen some stuff like that happen in the past, and if I was Choice, I would be pissed about it, right? So I could see maybe somebody finally figured it out, especially if it was written about enough, and that would make sense. And I think, the world's getting expensive, and we're going to see more of these brutal sort of changes, whether it's nickel and diming us on transfer rates or redemption rates. I mean, I just think that this year is just going to continue to get worse in that department. So I expect we'll probably see more of this type of stuff. It's really hard for them to go below 1-to-1, but when you're above 1-to-1, just psychologically, I think that there's room for them to tweak stuff.
Oh yeah, I think that below 1-to-1, only airlines can get away with that, and even then, they're like, no. I mean, I guess all core gets away with it, but that's the most valuable standard rate point out there for anything. So they have a little wiggle room there. But yeah, hotel points, when we're talking about, they're usually the least value offered to you. So if they dip below 1-to-1, nobody's gonna. And this is where they make all their money, selling the points to the credit card companies. So they need to at least give us the view of value or the assumption of value. Otherwise, nobody's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, can you imagine Marriott becoming even worse, like 0.8-to-1 or something? It's already like a terrible redemption at 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the direction that we might be headed. But I'd love to hear what everybody out there thinks about this. And are you going to transfer points over? A lot of people, I feel like, don't have a lot of thank you points. I feel like it's just a program that not enough people focus on.
No, and I think that was because when they launched, it wasn't all that exciting. There wasn't much to it. I think it's got Choice was a good get at 2-to-1, now 1.5. It's still better than most. And then AA is a huge get. And I think it's starting to creep up there, but it still doesn't have the wide acceptance of membership rewards or ultimate rewards, but they have better earning rates on a lot of stuff. They have better card lineup. Like if you're looking for a 3-card lineup or a 2-card lineup, I think they're the double cash with the Strata Premier at $95 all in is kind of hard to beat anywhere else. And I would say if you were going to be gifted 1,000,000 points, it used to be, oh, Chase, give me all the Chase. I don't think anybody, I think Ultimate Rewards might be like 4th now. I would say Bilt number 1 is Citi 2, possibly. I think Citi and membership rewards are neck and neck for a lot of people. Chase is down there in the 4th slot, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Chase has been exclusively Hyatt for me for a while, and so you heard the beginning of the show for my thoughts on that Chase Ultimate Rewards. But let's close with this, Mark, the complete guide to application rules by bank. We've had this guide for a while, kind of got out of date. You just updated it, meaning that people can just go to this resource. We'll put a link down below, and we're building out a tools page where we're going to kind of surface all of the tools and resources that we have for everybody. But this has the complete list of all the rules for applications, how many cards, all this sorts of stuff that you need to know before you apply at any of the major banks in the US.
Yeah, I added Cardless and a couple other smaller banks to it, and then updated. Some rules have changed since we last had touched it. So I'll keep that as things change. I'll keep updating it. So it's a great go-to if you do have an application. Even I go back and read it before certain banks' applications because I'm like, oh, what was that rule again? Did that change? All this stuff, especially Chase lately, has been like, no, it's this, no, it's that. Maybe back to this. I don't know. Let's go there. So anytime you're about to do an application, be sure to check it out and go right to that bank and see all the rules that they have.
Yeah, and compared to if you're doing a whole round of applications, you can get it all in one place. I don't care how long you've been doing this, it's a good idea to check this stuff to make sure. We all make mistakes. I mean, there's so many stories. So it's good to just know that, and to know that at least you're giving yourself a chance. It just sucks to like break a rule, or, like your day early, or you forgot about this or anything. So a great resource. We're continuing to build those out. Mark's done a great job on the site. Just if you haven't been there for a while, tons of new posts every day. Of course, we have the travel show, the Vegas show. So we are trying to be a much better complete resource for you guys. And this is one little part of that, and much more to come.
Yeah. Thanks everybody that reads, watches, listens, chats in the group. The Facebook group is back up. We're live again.
We got the Facebook group. We want to dive deeper. We got our Patreon as well. But we would love to hear what everybody has to say about all the stuff we talked about. Hyatt, I know that's going to be a topic of interest for many. And, it's fun to discuss this thing. We don't know it's 100% going to happen. But if we chime in and if we actually show them that this is meaningful to us, this is how you do change things. That's why they're taking a survey. So don't be quiet about your opinion about Hyatt. Share it down below. We do 2 shows a week. Tuesdays will be our travel show. We'll be back then talking all about travel. Thursdays, miles and points. Subscribe to the channel. Check us out on Vegas 3 times a week. So much fun going on. Thanks for watching. The longest outro ever. Bye.
Remember when IHG had like that negative change and everybody lost their mind, and then they're like, you know what? Never mind. Delta too.
So many companies. We're just sheep, man. We just keep going back.
Yeah. Have a good week, everybody.